Here they are. And of them that.
Well,
And of them that.
eh,
And I ask them
if
that.
if it is so, it is so, and then you hear, yes, yes, we see something, we see them, so I wonder who will get them.
Hello! Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse will get a house.
No. Why this really
Well,
bad?
Daffy Duck too.
Them say put them project on hold because them have nothing to do. Make the building industry.
That's called. Yeah, Mike.
Was Mike Henry who didn't.
Sorry about that. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Good night, good night, good night. I clean and make me examine the article before I go nowhere else, because that one that shocked me. Big up Ishmael, big up Partner Jar TV, big up Atafai Press, big up the whole team, Mr. Lonesome, you understand? Big up everybody. Zine, Jamaica, we have whole heap to talk about. We have a lot to talk about. It's not even funny, it does too much. Right now, it's not even a lot we have to talk about. We have too much to talk about. Yeah. Just a little bit too much to talk about. And my fault, Andrew, make we have too much to talk about, brother. The man is the gift that keeps on giving. You know, Andrew Honest is the gift that keeps on giving. When it come on to criticizing Andrew, it is easy. There's a lack of effort in helping the people. We know so there's a whole heap of effort to help himself. You understand? And advance his own wealth and his family's wealth. That is very, very clear. Andrew Jones has done very well economically as a politician for quite some years now. So there's no argument that Andrew really and truly, you know. Mommy, me dey on it live here. You hear mommy? Me dey on it live. Yeah, let me see if me can. Oh, this is gonna work, you know. How is this gonna work now? Let me see. We clean and pure enough. Alright, the mic is on. That's wonderful. Alright, I'm gonna have to go wait now. Yeah, I'm gonna have to stop them something. They might load, you know. They might load bad. Very, very loud. Mommy, I have to drop your door now. I have to drop your door. You don't want nobody in your conversation on the live at all. Yes, thank you. Alright, see it there now. Perfect. That is awesome. It is awesome. Take off my picture. And I need that. Take out this. Yeah. Let me see my microphone. That's why I know some microphone I reckon. Alright, microphone I work be. But is it the right microphone? Oh, perfect, wonderful. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at this article right here. Alright, so gaps trigger credibility concerns from the fiscal commissioner. Let's look into the article, ladies and gentlemen. Let's look into the article. Why we're not hearing that? Oh, I know why we're not hearing anything. I think Jamaica. I know exactly why we're not hearing that. I thought I was slick.
Significant disaster risk financing layers. However, Williams argued that the fiscal outlook is uncertain, noting that the government needs to address multiple Fiscal Commissioner Courtney Williams has raised questions about the credibility of aspects of the government's 2026 to 2027 budget in his Economic and Fiscal Assessment Report, FAIR. In his assessment of the government's macroeconomic and fiscal forecasts, the career economist said Jamaica's fiscal policy remains broadly sustainable, supported by a resilient fiscal responsibility framework and significant disaster risk financing layers. However, Williams argued that the fiscal outlook is uncertain, noting that the government needs to address multiple statutory and operational gaps to enable me to deem the budget wholly credible. The preparation of the Independent Fiscal Commission's FAR is a requirement under the Independent Fiscal Commissions Act, 2021, and the Financial Administration and Audit Act, FA. Discussing key findings of the FAR, Williams said the budget process has improved, but some aspects are still non-compliant with the FAA Act. While welcoming the historical tabling of revenue measures with other budget documents, including the fiscal policy paper, the fiscal commissioner said there remain major gaps. He said wage settlements between the administration and public sector workers continue to be out of sync with the budget cycle, thereby prolonging fiscal uncertainty and raising budgetary risks. Noting that rising fiscal pressures require structural correction, Williams pointed to what he termed major risks, which include wages and salaries not aligned with economic performance, continued absence of a compensation negotiation cycle, chronic under-execution of capital expenditure, continued reliance on one-off, non-tax revenues, and recurring climate-related shocks. I reiterate the Commission's view that by not anchoring wages to economic performance, Jamaica risks eating its seed corn, prioritizing wages today at the expense of capital investments required for tomorrow's growth and climate resilience, he declared. The Fiscal Commissioner also gave the thumbs up to the government's new revenue measures, arguing that they broadly support fiscal sustainability. Williams said new measures, particularly general consumption tax on digital services and special consumption tax adjustments on alcohol, tobacco, and sweetened drinks, will broaden the overall tax base and improve alignment with health and environmental policy objectives. He said overall revenue gain of $18.0 billion in financial year 2026 to 2027, excluding the $11.4 billion continuing transfer from the National Housing Trust, which is not a new measure, appears credible, provided they are implemented timely. Turning to the credibility of the medium-term macroeconomic and fiscal projections of the government, Williams said they were mixed and inconclusive. He said the projections are quite preliminary and did not benefit from a detailed damage and loss assessment from Hurricane Melissa and the operational and expenditure plans of the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority. The Fiscal Commissioner said these omissions materially affect the government's growth projections, nominal gross domestic product, GDP, and hence revenue forecast, expenditure timing, and current account forecasts, all of which inform fiscal and debt outcomes. I am especially concerned that the fiscal year 2026 to 2027 nominal GDP growth projection, 9.2%, which implies a GDP deflator of 9.7%, appears inconsistent with current inflation and historical post-disaster price behavior. This creates a significant risk of overstating nominal GDP, overprojecting revenue, and understating debt ratios, he said. Furthermore, Williams said the near doubling of the capital budget for the specified public sector, amid ongoing capacity constraints and procurement bottlenecks, is overly ambitious. He reasoned that, given the legacy of low execution of capital projects, it is implausible to expect the spend to increase from the fiscal year 2025 to 2026 fourth supplementary estimates of $135.4 billion. And the actual expenditure for the full fiscal year is likely to be much lower, to $204.9 billion in fiscal year 2026 to 2027. Williams said it is unclear whether the full estimated costs of wage settlements are factored into the 2026 to 2027 budget. He said the Finance Ministry has not provided detailed information on the contingency allocation of $42.8 billion to allow him to ascertain the sufficiency of such provision.
Ladies and gentlemen, good night. It's a brother BOLO V&R. Welcome. Self and F, big up yourself. Everybody on the live, big up on yourself. Please hit the like button for me. Please don't forget to hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen. It's very important to get the videos out there. Encouragement strengthens labor. Once I see you guys rocking out with me, trust me, I'll get you more of the news. You understand? So just bless up the like button, share up the live on your status wherever, you know what I mean, Facebook, if you can. Big up on yourself for those that do. And you know, I encourage you to become a member of the platform so you can get all of the wonderful things that nobody else can. You know, the emojis, you know what I'm saying, the badges, you know, important content that nobody else will be able to view except you. You know, timely content, premieres early. You get those early. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a wizard in terms of economics, and I don't claim to be. But when the commissioner says things like this, it gets me unsettled. The finance ministry has not provided detailed information on the contingency allocation of 42.8 billion to allow him to ascertain the sufficiency of such provisions. What I read from that is this: the numbers are not adding up. The detail of the numbers are not added. They cannot be added up. It's foggy, it's fake. And in a time like this, when we are in the most uncertain period of Jamaica's history, with the war going on in the Ukraine, I said Ukraine, sorry, in Iran, you know, and the United States and Israel and all of that, how the world is responding, you know, fiscally, we need persons that know what they're actually doing to safeguard us, the people, and not sell us out. And to be quite honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I really don't trust the government. I'm sorry. I don't. And this article itself is like, you know, the commissioner is here and there, but then I can't even blame the commissioner because it's what the commissioner is being given. You know what I mean? They need to get money. You know, he said the new measures, particularly general consumption tax on digital services and special consumption taxable adjustments on alcohol, tobacco, and sweetened drinks will broaden the overall tax base, right? So he was applauding them for that. Very interesting. So again, let me know what you guys think about that. You know, there's gaps, and it triggers credibility concerns, right? From the fiscal commissioner. Remember when Andrew said there was gaps in ADPEM? Yeah, man. It's them same gaps there. All right, so let me go to the next article. No, you know what I mean? Next article, I know. Not even an article. Let me play the video. Make me play the video. Make me play the video. Make me play the video. Oh, oh. Make me play the video. How would I do it now? How would I do it now? Open. Yes. Alright. Who made this? Who made this? It's sad though, you know? It's really sad.
Andrew Holness says so far he's not aware of it.
Thank you, Chairman. I bring greetings to the Minister as well from our friends and relatives in Tajikistan.
Thank you so much.
Minister, I'd like to start with some of the revenue measures, in particular sweetened beverage. What's the actual estimated consumption for the year 23-24? and 24-25. Thank you.
Alright, so we can use this. I can use this. This is a good one to use. I want to broaden it though. I can't broaden it. I can't broaden the view. I don't like that view here. You know them here there? I want to broaden the view, man. I want to broaden the view of Jamaica. But it's not allowing me to. It's not giving me those options down here, so I'm gonna try zoom and it not zoom. And this not work neither. I don't know. No, cancel that. No, save no frame. You know what? I have an idea. Big up me if you be a smart person. You want to see them. See them in Jamaica.
Now let's look at some of your growth protections. What's the revenue elasticity in respect to?
Alright, that's not the one I want. Not the one I want.
Behavior was of their consumers.
Thank you.
Oh, 646. Okay. That's the one. That one, them one. 647. See it there. I'm not label them yet, so forgive me, Jamaica.
Thank you, Chairman. I bring greetings to the minister as well from.
Alright, perfect. No, I can't go back. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, let me go to this clip with Auntie Faval and Damien Crawford in regards to some of the points that were made in the article we just read. Check this out.
Thank you, Chairman. I bring greetings to the minister as well from friends and relatives in Dixon.
Thank you so much.
Minister, I'd like to start with some of the revenue measures, in particular sweeping revenue. What's the actual estimated consumption for the year 23-24 and 24-25 that was used as the base for your projection?
All right, so we used 17.3 million cases in 2020. And notice I said cases, so you multiply that by an average of 24 bottles. Sorry.
Hey, me say, Damien Crawford reputation precedes him. Afraid of Crawford, you know. So them I make sure so them give him all the detail, you know. Notice I said cases. Oh, you mean anti-favor? That you hear them and cross it to them, yes. You know some of there, so I wonder if people them can hear the thing. And go check the desktop. Mighty God. I clean and a pure, you know. I clean and a pure, you know. Everything. Oh, that's okay, good. We're straight. No, but favor, anti-favor, no easy. Hear this.
Sorry, can. And
Anti-favor to talk up still. Sometimes you piss me off, you know, but I'm sorry for her more time. I'm not telling a lie. Sorry for your anti-favor sometime, boy. She will leave from amongst the snakes.
I'm told we're just for carbonated beverage, but we use in our estimate roughly 40 million cases.
40 million. Minister, the tax is in milliliter, and you know they're varied sizes. Would you have a milliliter amount?
You mean for the totality of it?
Yes, yes, Minister.
It's over 500 billion milliliters.
Is that within the range of 500 billion or 700 billion over has a wide gap? Is it approximately 500 billion?
Right, approximately 500 billion milliliters.
Okay, well, Minister, you estimate a earning of $10.1 billion at 2 cents per milliliter. Would you confirm, therefore, that you expect no reduction in the consumption of that sugary drink, being that that would equate to 500 billion as well, milliliter?
Are you talking about
Consumption.
Are you talking?
Walk on
Are you talking
Sefu.
about the 10.1 billion?
That's what's
Yes,
up.
Minister. The levy of 2 cents.
All right. So here's the thing. One, these are estimates. Two, persons could decide that they want to drink less of the sugary drinks, and we see a reduction in that number.
Yes.
Right? That's a good thing from a health perspective. Persons could also decide that they will drink more, and we get the revenues that we estimate or more. Right, if they drink more, estimate, right, or more, right? So, member, based on the data from the Ministry of Health and Wellness, they have been tracking non-communicable diseases for a while now, and they know with great certainty the negative impact of sugar, excess sugar, on the population of Jamaica. So if we get more than is estimated, that extra goes into the health sector to take care of those people when they land there, because they're going to show up with elevated levels, they're going to show up complaining of all kinds of ailments as a result of drinking excess sugary drinks. So either way, Minister, either way, Chairman, whether it's 10.1 billion or more than 10 or less than 10, the health sector will have to take care of those who drink too much, and it will benefit from those who change their behavior and consume less.
Minister, unfortunately, I didn't get a response to my question. It was indicated that your base zero this year was 500 billion milliliters. Your best case projection or your most likely case projection suggests that at 2 cents, you will earn 10.1 billion, indicating, therefore, you expect no decrease in the consumption of the sugary drink, because it would take 500 billion times 2 cents to be 10.1 billion.
So, member,
Yes.
I can say that the 10.1 billion has took into consideration, some amount of reduction in the consumption of the beverage.
So your previous figure of 500 billion would have been incorrect then. Your base figure you're
Well,
saying.
I told you approximately, and in fact, I just got confirmation that we used 533 billion, and that we looked at the experience in other countries that have instituted the tax to see what what the behavior was of their consumers.
Wow. Wow, Jamaica. Can you imagine? FAILBAD Williams and the Jamaica Labour Party really take us for idiots. I just want to establish, that really and truly. And sometimes we have to repeat these things because some people are You know, in a Jamaica, they would say your head tough. Not true. Our head tough, you see? Your head tough, you see? And so we as Jamaicans would say it, but seriously speaking, ladies and gentlemen, the budget and taxing the sugary drinks, it has nothing to do with our health. They have not anticipated anybody stop drinking the sugary drinks, and let me tell you why. They know that the people are backed up into a corner. That's why this is so sinister what they're doing. You understand? It's so sinister what they're doing. But I digress. Let it be understood and let it be on record that the Jamaica Labour Party does not give a damn about your health. You have to give a damn about your health. And you know, when she talked about the healthcare system, we'll have to deal with the people that consume the sugary drinks. Look at the healthcare system dealing with the people right now. What you think is actually going to change, ladies and gentlemen? Right? There is also another thing that stood out to me in the article. He said that the preparation of the Independent Fiscal Commission (FR) is required under the Independence Fiscal Commission Act and the Fiscal Administration Act Audit, sorry. Financial Administration and Audit Act. That is the FAA. Discussing key findings of the EFR, Williams said the budget process has improved, but some aspects are still non-compliant with the FAA Act. That stood out to me. That truly stood out to me. So we have to keep an eye on that, ladies and gentlemen. Again, let me know what you think about that in the comment section. All right, just turn off that and let's go to the normal proceedings. Then I'm going to go to the normal proceedings, because I don't know why I get a feedback. It's like something wrong with the microphone. I need to fix that. Not said they don't know what they're doing. No, nuts. That's what I was saying on Andre's show earlier today. Earlier in the night when I was watching. I don't agree that they don't know what they're doing. I think they know exactly what they're doing. And the purpose of what they're doing, they are fulfilling their objective. That's exactly what I think. I don't think that they're helpless. I don't think that they're not bright. I think that they're bright enough to not make the mistakes that they've been making. And I don't think it's a mistake. That's my point. I really don't think it's a mistake. For those that are watching, guys, I want to invite you to, this right here by Pastor Peter Chambers. For those who support Pastor Peter Chambers, right? Yeah, man. March 15th to 20th, 7 p.m. nightly. Pineapple Links Plaza, shop number 1003 St. Anne. And there is the number there for more information, 876-436-1159 or 876-309-0604. Ladies and gentlemen, you can screenshot that, and if you don't need it, you can text me on WhatsApp and send it to you. I'm going to just blast it all over on the social media platform. A lot of the things that Pastor Peter Chambers has mentioned, I don't know if you guys were listening to Mystic Sensation earlier today, but my goodness, I don't agree with everything that was said, but it was very interesting what was being revealed about Andrew Willis. I'm going to post that video tomorrow morning. I have a couple videos to post tomorrow morning. Anyway, let's go to the next stuff that I want to share real quick, ladies and gentlemen. This is a travesty. But there's a part of this article that is stressing me out. The expiration of the previous agreement was February 2023. So for 2 years now, all right, Cuba has been faithful to us regardless of an agreement being made. I want to thank the Cuban people. And this is just coming from out of respect for what they have done for the country. I don't, between them and whoever, the United States, whoever don't like them, that is their business. I am saying thank you to the Cubans. You have been a true neighbor of the Jamaican people. All right? And I respect and I love the Cuban brothers and sisters out there. Whole heap of respect. God bless you all. You understand? Stay under the banner of Jesus Christ. God bless you. Alright? Our Jamaica government, when they have one bagger leader. Anyway, Petrojam says motorists spared from full impact of global fuel price increase. I wonder why that is. Let's hear why they are spared. Them are things we have to read, I have to hear what going on out there, Jamaica. Not true.
Sports, business, entertainment, opinion, lifestyle, health, auto, comics. Advertise with us. Petrojam says its pricing mechanism has shielded motorists from the full impact of rising global fuel costs, noting that recent increases in international benchmark prices were not fully passed on in local ex-refinery prices. The statement comes amid heightened concern about fuel costs following the escalating conflict in the Middle East, triggered by the U.S.-Israeli war against Iran, which has disrupted oil shipments through the Strait of Hormuz, a critical global shipping lane through which about 20% of the world's oil and gas passes. In a statement Thursday, the state-owned refinery said movements in the U.S. Gulf Coast reference prices, the key benchmark used to determine regional petroleum prices, showed increases that would have translated to between $8.45 and $12.66 per liter for transportation fuels. However, Petrojam said its pricing framework softened the effect locally. Based on the movements in these USGC reference prices for this week, the price range for transportation fuels reflected increases in the order of $8 Jamaican dollars and 45 cents to $12 Jamaican dollars and 66 cents per liter. As designed, Petrojam's pricing mechanism mitigated the full impact of these increases. Therefore, the full price increases were not passed on in the ex-refinery prices, the company said. The refinery added that it continues to monitor developments in the international energy market, particularly movements in U.S. Gulf Coast reference prices, which are used to determine the ex-refinery prices of petroleum products in Jamaica. Petrojam also sought to reassure the public that fuel supply remains stable, noting that the refinery is maintaining normal inventory levels. Speaking before Parliament's Standing Finance Committee on Thursday, Finance and the Public Service Minister FAILBAD Williams said the conflict has already pushed global oil prices higher and could affect Jamaica. Jamaica is an importer of oil, so what happens to oil prices on the global market is expected to have an impact on Jamaica, Williams said, noting that crude oil prices have risen by about 15%. Moving from $54 to $74 per barrel since the outbreak of the conflict. Energy Minister Daryl Vaz has also said the government is closely monitoring developments, while noting that Petrojam's pricing system helps cushion the local market from sudden global price shocks. It is important to understand that crude oil and finished petroleum products are traded in separate markets, and movements in crude oil prices do not automatically or proportionally translate into local pump prices, Vaz said earlier this week. Petrojam's pricing committee, which includes representatives from the Office of Utilities Regulation and relevant ministries, meets weekly to determine ex-refinery prices for petroleum products. The refinery also urged motorists to manage fuel costs by using the grade of gasoline recommended by their vehicle manufacturers and adopting more efficient driving practices. Follow the Gleaner on X formerly Twitter.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you believe that that cushion is going to last for long? How long do you think that cushion is going to last for? I'm not even arguing if there's a cushion. That's what they said, right? But how long you think that's going to last for? I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a long time. But yeah. Next article. Ex-cop and police constable accused of using fake drug case to solicit money from Trelawney woman. Mighty God. What? No, wait. Me not understand. Hold on. Me confused. Trelawney woman solicited money from Trelawney woman. So the man them get free. Let us see what them say as a Jamaica. Them. That means I lie the woman and I tell.
A current member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force and 3 former police officers who were accused of using a fake drug trafficking case to solicit money from a Trelawney woman were today freed after the prosecution said it was unable to mount a viable case.
Oh, they were unable to mount a viable case. I could hear the rest of that story.
Former Detective Sergeant James...
Oh, that Matthew. We have Matthew, we have Nats and Sylvan in that place. Big up on yourself. Like up and share up the live with me. No say late, but you know.
James Dawes, ex-detective Corporal Tamala Anderson, former Detective Constable Shane Givens, and Constable Lackery Barrett were charged last April with facilitating the commission of a serious offense by a criminal organization, forgery, uttering forged documents, and perverting the course of justice.
Whoa.
When the matter came up before the Home Circuit Court, the Crown accepted the defense's submission that the prosecution was unable to mount a viable case based on the evidence. The defendants had pleaded not guilty before Justice Leighton Pusey, who agreed with the submission. All 4 were attached to the police's Firearms and Narcotics Investigation Division.
What?
Except for Barrett, the other accused have since resigned from the force. According...
What you say? Except for Barrett, the other accused have since resigned from the force. Jamaica, you see why I'm reading the article here? I never want to read the rest, you know, but something to myself read it. That is very spooky. So they were freed of the charges. Sorry, they were freed of the charges, and you're telling me that they decided to resign from the force? Matthew, Nats, Selvanev, everybody will watch. What do you guys get from that? What is the first thought that comes to your mind, the second thought that comes to your mind, and the third thought that comes to your mind when you hear that? That only one person has not resigned. All of the other accused have resigned. Mighty God.
According to the allegations, in 2023, the 4 officers approached the complainant with a document claiming that she was suspected of drug trafficking. She was taken into custody and detained. Shortly afterward, the complainant's mother alleged that she received a call from a policeman who stated that her daughter would be released if money was paid.
Mighty God.
The complainant was later released without being charged. It is alleged that the document presented to the woman regarding the drug trafficking case was fake. A subsequent complaint was made to the police's Inspectorate and Professional Standards Oversight Bureau, which launched an investigation. Investigators reportedly discovered that the 4 accused had prepared the forged document used in connection with the woman's release from custody. Attorneys at law Chadwick Berry, Christopher Townsend, and Dondre Buchanan represented the defendants.
Investigators reportedly discovered that the 4 accused had prepared the forged document used in the connection with the woman's release from custody. The attorney, no, this just seems so off. This case is we have to make that one a city in Jamaica. Yeah man, that one don't sound good, it don't look good, everything wrong about it, but we have to make that one a sit. Granted? Yeah man, we have to make that one a sit because we have too much things we really are looking into right now. But that one there rub me whole spirit. That case there who rub me spirit bad. No Jamaica, if me never did see it, I won't believe it. Jamaica Baptist Union to consider overseas recruitment to address pastor shortage. I don't know if I am, yes, well, I am influenced by my mother. In terms of the way how her relationship with God. You understand? I am influenced by my mother. So this to me is crazy because I know that God calls his servants. When you're called by God, you understand, that's the authentic. You have to have a personal relationship with God, and your whatever God intends for you to do in his ministry, he shall instruct you. That's what I grew up on. So this is weird to me. A shortage of pastor is coming like you look some electrician. Weird to me. But I'm gonna move on. Now I'm gonna belabor the point. Just wanted to share that. Alright? This now. Right there. So this was an hour ago. We definitely have to get into this, Jamaica. Jesus. Bobby Bantiki. A clean and a pure, Let me put on a timestamp for this. Timestamp. Ladies and gentlemen, it says here that 7 government entities sign leases at Morant Bay Urban Center. Several government entities, Several government entities. Mighty God. Who that? Mr. Shirley, Bobby Montague, lease agreement signing ceremony. I could go in there, Jamaica. When you like and share up the video, don't keep it to yourself. Don't be stingy now. Clean and pure,
7 government entities have signed lease agreements to occupy spaces at the Morant Bay Urban Center, signaling what officials say is a major step toward activating the $6 billion commercial complex. The agencies include the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Justice Reform Center, Jamaica Information Service, Tax Administration Jamaica, Department of Correctional Services, Child Protection and Family Services Agency, Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency, and the St. Thomas Municipal Corporation. They will join more than 30 private sector organizations that have either completed or are in the process of building out their spaces at the facility, which was officially opened in May 2025. The lease signing ceremony for government tenants was held Thursday at the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development in Kingston. Minister without portfolio with responsibility for land titling and settlements, Robert Montague, said the agreements demonstrate the public sector's commitment to the development. I really want to congratulate the government entities for seeing the vision and coming forward, Montague said, noting that relocating to the Morant Bay Urban Center could prove to be a historic decision for the agencies involved. He added that the project represents the fulfillment of the vision of national hero Paul Bogle to bring development directly to the people of St. Thomas.
He added that project represents the fulfillment of the vision of national hero Paul Bogle to bring development directly to the people of St. Thomas. Who give him that script there for right, man? Hey, me know say loan some go influence some read this already, Me know say loan some go beat them bad man, man. Petal, I can't believe this. the man really trying to make it seem as if giving the government agencies those spaces and taking our money. I just want to know how much it gonna cost you, you know. I want to know how much percentage it gonna increase. I want to know the full contract, right? Because this urban center sound very expensive. And where the money a come from, what kind of, you know what? Let me continue here, Father God. Because them are people here, Jamaica, if you no wake up, if you no wake up, we need to know who is directly and indirectly benefiting from this urban center. We say if you no wake up, mighty God, gotta go deal with them still, you know? Gotta go deal with them, man.
Montague also argued that the center will help curb rural-urban migration by creating employment opportunities and attracting new investment to the parish.
You know, so I got hold them accountable. You see every word of them I mention here, so I could see how much job opportunities this urban center are going to create. I could see, man. Yeah, man. And what kind of new investment? New investment for who? The people in St. Thomas will live there? Is this urban center going to allow the people in St. Thomas to gain more wealth? Oh, thank you, Nats. Nats. Laugh. I was blessed that one, the laughing disco. Why me needed that laugh? Why? I don't know. Wow.
Parish. Chairman of the Morant Bay Urban Center Limited and the Factories Corporation of
Shirley.
Jamaica, Littleton Shirley, said the concentration of government services in one location will make it easier for residents to access public services. It is all about creating an environment for our people to be more welcome in government spaces without having to be journeying all over to different areas at a cost to them, he said. Permanent Secretary in the ministry, Arlene Williams, described the development as a beacon of hope for the parish, saying it is expected to stimulate economic activity in an area once considered overlooked. The complex was developed through a public-private partnership involving the Factories Corporation of Jamaica, China Harbor Engineering Company, and National Commercial Bank Jamaica. The signing comes weeks after the opposition People's National Party raised concerns that the complex remained incomplete months after its official opening in May 2025. Opposition spokesman on industry Anthony Hilton had called on Prime Minister Andrew Holness to clarify reports that tenants were unable to access the facility due to unresolved utility issues. Hilton argued that the May 2025 opening ceremony was premature and described it as political theater, claiming that several tenants were still awaiting access to their spaces. However, Shirley said earlier that electricity and water issues affecting the complex were being addressed and that tenants would soon be able to begin operations. Speaking on Thursday evening at a parliamentary committee reviewing the proposed budget, Montague said water and electricity are available at the facility. JIS contributed to the...
This was an hour ago, guys. This article was 2 hours ago, updated. Well, it was updated 2 hours ago. Alright, so, see it there? Justice, Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Justice Reform Center, Jamaica Information Service, JIS, hey mama, Andrew Wellness, nothing. Tax Administration Jamaica, I don't trust them. I don't trust Tax Administration. They lease one empty, they lease couple empty building already. Waste some money. Hey, Jamaica want clean up in the man. Department of Correctional Services, Child Protection and Family Services Agency, Passport, Immigration. It's a grand idea, but how much is it going to cost the people? Not you just come from BOLO V&R clips. If a BOLO V&R 2.0 you have to stay upon. Over there say you can send me nice gift there. Like that one they were just send me a while ago and the super chat and them something. You know? Everybody. Not just alone, I'm just saying. As long as I subscribe to all that page, we're good, but yeah man. Concentrate the energy over BOLO V&R 2.0 for now. Anyway, let's continue. We have a lot to cover. So there you have it, guys. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section. La da da. La da da. So we cover that X-Cap, cover Petrojam. Yes, yes, yes. Alright, God is the greatest, not true? God is the greatest. Thank you so much for the love, Nats. Big up yourself. Alright, so we're done with that. Let me see what I go on for X. Integrity Commission a long time, you know. Me not page, you know. But who not go on with not much. What is this? When was this? February 13th for immediate release. An investigative report and the indicative ruling on of the Director of Corruption Prosecution table in the House of Parliament. That February 13th, that a good while. I'm marching in there now, so a long time sitting that. Alright, moving on. Moving on. I'm moving on. So we have Observer. Alright. What is happening with the Observer? What is this? Venezuela has promised safe conditions for foreign companies keen to invest in the country, United States officials said Thursday, as Washington announced it will restore diplomatic ties with Caracas. Ministry of Labor said it is aware of concerns raised of members of the public regarding challenges contacting the ministry to make inquiries. So the Labor Ministry is not even accessible for, my God, why am I tell the devil no go on? So all these combine, how much these that is the question, Devon. All these ministries combined, what is going to be the cost to the government and our tax dollars? Hey, me say the man them just are, hey, the man them really are great the country, you know. Just like we Andre said graphic, you know, but me I tell you say it is exactly what they're doing, you know. We say if you have to do a background check out who a benefit the urban center, on the job go drop a ground. Me say it, everything I go bust out. And it's not like say me don't know me know anything or me have no information. Me I tell you say in my spirit, in my bone, me know say something behind the urban center here. Me know say something this a urban center here, it too stink. And watch it I go come out one of them there and I go remember when BOLO this said in the night here. Me I tell you that them are people here. Sure. My people here, see, man. 80 million. You know, the Observer is such. Yo, the Observer is such. Just call it the JLP news, the newspaper. Yo, Mr. The man, the title alone, and 80 million lifeline is heading straight into the hands of small farmers. Nobody else small farmer them beat them, but in Jamaica, nobody the small farmer them beat them, but every time the small farmer them let them, hey, Andre Stevenson and other people them on powerful enough. Hey, man, I tell you, say them have some power there, brother. As soon as the conversation is had, ladies and gentlemen, as soon as the conversation is had, look what happened. $80 million rollout to small farmers. What we have to ask ourselves now is, where is the evidence of this? And how effective is it going to be? Because them say 80 million lifeline, you know. I head straight into the hands of the farmers, you know. Right? Struggling to recover from hurricane. You can imagine, after 4 months, going into 5 months, with a government, them can admit to the farmer they still a struggle. They should be ashamed of themselves, you know. Yes, me here me I wait for that to bust out even more. Me here what's your name? London 45 I talk about the bakery them a plan to open up. Them people in the business about people health, brother. And, you know, as I talk about that, let me go to Instagram. Let me just segue let me just segue onto that conversation a little bit and then come back to where I want to be, ladies and gentlemen. See, because I go through them video there now. Yeah, man, I go through Parliament. See me? Let me just segue into where's Mr. Vaz? Not Vaz. Alfred Dawes. Dr. Alfred Dawes. Yeah, man. General, man. See, man? Yeah, see, General. Alright. Where is it? Yeah, I disappeared, yeah? I don't know if this page, you know. This was 3 days ago. Alright, hold on. I guess it's not this page. He put out a video. It must be on Instagram. Never find it. He put out a video. Not Instagram, TikTok. He put out a video, Jamaica.
Jamaica, this is a perfect.
Yo, London, me can't just pass London, sir, you know. Alright, London, me soon come back. But me have to go to where me I go to. I go play that. Hold on there, London. Just hold on. Hold on there, my sister. Hold on there, my sister, London. Make me go over here so I don't want to be distracted. TikTok.
Welcome.
Alright. Who may I look for now? Who may I look for on TikTok now? Lord Jesus. Who may I look for on TikTok? But no London may I look for? No, no baker may I look for. The people that know some have a brain fart. Somebody remind me when I look for on TikTok. What when I look for a while ago? Oh yes, Dr. Alfred Dawes. I literally had a brain fart a while ago. What's she name? She threw me off. Dr. Alfred Dawes. Him did have a video, man. Have a video. What is this? What kind of capsule business? You know what's not about a capsule? I said, Dawes. Oh, you want a capsule, hombre? Alright, I think yes, man, I must eat this.
So I've lost about 25 pounds because I wanted a different look. I did not do it by cutting out sugary drinks. As a matter of fact, the majority of my patients who come to me for weight loss, they had already cut out sugary drinks years ago, and they were still struggling, which is why they would have sought my services as a
They've on a PR all the way, straight PR. But we just have to go and watch and see.
last resort in many instances. So, how do we do it? Simple way combat insulin resistance. If you want to tackle diabetes, if you want to tackle obesity, you have to look at the main driver, which is insulin resistance. Insulin is a messenger in the body that tells your blood glucose to go into the muscles and into the fat cells. So the more sugar you have in the blood, the more insulin you need, and you're putting strain on the pancreas that produces the insulin to produce higher and higher levels. And after a while, your body gets resistant to that messenger. And that's when your sugar levels start to go out of control and you end up with diabetes. Now, of course, because you have high levels of sugar, if you don't have muscles building and working out, it's going to go naturally into the fat cells. And that is why you end up with weight gain, which in turn leads to insulin resistance. And it's a cycle. Many females see that with PCOS. And until you break that cycle, to decrease the amount of fat, decrease the sugar, and as a result of that, decrease the insulin, you won't have sustainable weight loss. The problem is that insulin continues to grab all of the calories that you have and store them in the fat cells. So really and truly, it's not just about sugary drinks, it's about any source of sugar that gets into your bloodstream. And what is it that usually gets do Jamaicans get their sugar from? It's not just their sugar drinks, it's the rice, the flour, eat a lot of bread, we eat a lot of snacks, all of those biscuits that we keep importing from Trinidad and those other places, the cereal, the processed foods from North America. And as a matter of fact, the North American processed foods that we get, they are different from the processed foods in the UK and in Europe, because their laws restrict the amount of sugars in not just drinks but foods as well. So the cereals have less sugar, have less carbs, the bread and so on. So if you really want to have a public health tax, you have to look at the overall picture. But we're not doing that. This tax is just simply a tax on sugary drinks. It is a tax on people who can't afford to buy freshly squeezed orange juice, so they buy orange drink. People who don't know what grape juice tastes like, so they buy grape drink. The poorest of the poor in our society. It's an illusion, it's a farce, it's because of special interest groups that are pushing sugar taxes where we end up in this situation. Our approach here is that we go for a high protein diet that decreases the level of insulin you have to work out, and of course we have some other aids, which I use to turn on and off my weight loss journey and of course refer to my patients. So really and truly, don't buy the illusion out there that this is a health tax. It is not. It's not going to change behavior. It has not resulted in obesity rates declining in any country that they have imposed a sugary drinks tax on. Take a look at Mexico. Even though it decreased the consumption of sugary drinks, Mexico's obesity rates continue to go up and up over the years. And as a matter of fact, in the OECD countries, Organization for Economic Development and Cooperation, Mexico ranks as the second fattest country, even with a sugar tax now over 10 years old. So it doesn't change the rate of obesity. We have to look as a country where the calories are coming from and how we can fix it. You know, what has increased in Jamaica? Amount of junk food, fast food franchises, the amount of available burgers, fries, fried chicken, and pizza that has been available. Obesity in Jamaica is increasing at about 1% per year. Sugary drink intake has not been increasing at 1% per year, but you see what buildings are going up and you know what you are eating. So let's call a spade a spade. This is a tax on the poor. And if you want to lose weight, I'll make more educational videos.
So many have been wondering.
I want to big up Mr. Big up the PMP, all of the MP them. Boy, when I work, boy. I mean, the man totally destroyed the argument that the JLP is using to try and say to us, yeah, you know, really and truly, we really care about the health, and that's why we attack, you know. A part of it, it's not a part of it. They don't care about your health. Because you see how the man name out all the other things them where you can eat or really are going to affect your health. It's not about health, Jamaica. So let's just stop it. It's a lie from the pits of hell. You understand? Big up Mr. Dawes, make sure so you don't follow him on TikTok. Right? Let's go back to London 45 years here, so.
Example of thief don't like to see thief with long bag, because look at this pataket right here, so talking about he order audit team to safeguard the roof program from welfare fraud. When he's our top criminal, we should be creating we should order an audit team to protect ourselves from you. It's just unfortunately that we the people won't come together to take your ass out of this. It's a damn criminal. You're money launderer, liar, thief, wicked. You've been stealing from the Jamaican people from your step your foot into Parliament. Wow. Right? And now the look of free money come to help the people them in a disastrous time. Come talking about order audit team to safeguard. Safeguard the damn pataket finger them, man. Y'all are criminals. After you and your ministers, them already stolen what you know want out there. You want to come out here so now come talking shit. Like, are you serious?
Yo, not say me fi hide Andrew face, so I have to turn off the camera.
much money you stole from the Jamaican people
Yo.
in every angle you minister them. You come talking about your safeguard. Safeguard what? Safeguard your finger out of poor people's purse. That is what you need to do. Number one, the food, even the food that we have gotten 300 plane load of food come to Jamaica. I'll know when you see the food them.
Crazy.
Materials like nothing. I'll know when you see the materials
Crazy.
them. You're giving all a person 6 sheets of zinc, 4 piece a lot. What the hell that can do? I know that the program should go all out basically 6 months after this hurricane. You come talk about audit, team to safeguard roof program. Look here, man, go create an audit to safeguard yourself from us. You're a criminal. You are what is holding us down. You are one that is doing the welfare fraud. You're bitter, wicked thieving, man. You. Why can't you order an audit team to safeguard and minister them from thief out the money? Fly Green, Christopher Tuftan, Daryl Vase. Huh? Why you don't create an audit to safeguard them finger from the money? Your ministers them, your clerk at the house with the 29 million, Bigfoot. How much million you all stealing? Why don't you set up our other audit team to safeguard them finger from the damn money where your ministers them over their teeth? You ever want...
You come like that brother you want to turn politician, you know. You come like him want to get into politics, you know. Hey man, the man a rep hard for Andrew, you know. Leave and bother show this. Make it stay. Make it stay. Me not see nothing.
Safeguard when you come on to the look of the Jamaican people, them forget. Same thing me hear talk about the $20,000 where you give them with the year. But see Mocha go and investigate. He's a dangerous devil.
Dangerous.
Lucifer. Why the hell you not gonna set up all the team for yourself? The whole one crook over there. Where the 300 billion there, Mr. Olis? The $300 billion, we can't hear nothing about that all now. It's like it's a 9-day talk. How we didn't get a chance to safeguard you from that?
Mr. People, I come to talk about one testimony because I just saw a very similar post.
All right. I could get to the meat and potatoes, you know. I feel like if you play this every day.
Andrew Holness says so far he's not aware of any member of his Jamaica Labour Party administration being investigated for alleged illicit enrichment by the
I am redeemed. Go on, them cover up them tracks already. Lord, please let there be a loophole. No man, God is on the job, man. God is on the job, man. Don't worry yourself, man. Believe.
Commission.
I have asked as far and as wide. I have gotten a response from everyone. But as far as I have been told, no.
The Integrity Commission.
I have asked as far and as wide. I have gotten a response from
Party administration being investigated for alleged illicit enrichment by the Integrity Commission.
I have asked as far and as wide. I have gotten a response from everyone. But as far as I have been told, no.
Last time, if you add up the 4 seats that we needed to form government, and the total margin of adding up all 4 seats between the parties was 1,097 votes. That's how close this election was. So we have a lot to be encouraged by, and we're going to be doing the necessary things that we need to do to make sure that next time around we cross the table first.
One Marky G.
Thank you, Chairman. I bring greetings to the minister.
We'll go over that already.
Now let's look at some of your growth protections. What's the revenue elasticity in respect to GDP growth that you embedded in the medium-term fiscal framework, the fiscal policy paper? What's the revenue elasticity? So if we miss growth by 1%, what would be the impact on revenue?
Good question.
When we're protecting,
I am redeemed. Good question.
Remember, we look at buoyancy, not elasticity. There's a difference. our revenues are predicated on our projections for GDP. And we have, from a macro perspective, we know that in general, 25 to 27% of our tax revenues, 25 to 27% of GDP is generally where our tax revenues are. Of course, that's not the only factor that we use to project the revenues. We look at tax revenues from a micro perspective as well, in terms of all the tax types, and we do the projections that way. Then we calibrate the macro with the micro to come to some studied understanding of what the revenues are going to be. So it's not an elasticity calculation per se. We know there's buoyancy if GDP grows more than what we're projecting, then we would fully expect to see more tax revenue.
I'll tell you something, man. Favor Williams in the wrong profession. Favor Williams need to start sell her voice and just mumble and talk for people fall asleep. You know people have sleep apnea? Or they have sleeping problems? Yeah, man. Just, she need to have like some audible tracks which you sell online, where you would just buy for play as therapy for people got. Because yo, when you start talking, I start get tired, you know? Come like I want spell shop put on you for sleep, brother. Yo, I don't know how I don't know how Damien Crawford is this patient and all the people in the People's National Party is so patient with this lady. Them really don't attack her, you know? And you know, say if it was the Labour right them so obnoxious. Me I talk about the member of parliament them. You know, say they would have attacked a sitting member of the People's National Party if they were, they had this demeanor and yo, I tell her, she need to leave. Her husband has money. Mighty God, not what people in business in. Boy, Matthew, hate is a strong word, man. Don't make the man make a go to hell, man. No hole in the salvation. Don't make Andrew make a go to hell. Alright? No hate him.
Thank you, Minister. But I think the response is unfortunate because the GDP is dependent on the rate of growth. And so if the revenue is dependent on the GDP, then the revenue, therefore, is also dependent on the rate of growth. If there's a particular rate of growth, there will be a different revenue. So I'm saying that, especially based on the simple fact that within the fiscal policy paper, you suggested that your growth was skewed to the downside. So a 1% reduction in growth, how would that impact revenue? Was no stress test done to see a growth impact on revenue outcomes?
Man too sharp,
So
man.
remember, I just described to you the process that we use to estimate the tax revenues. It's a robust process. If you look back in time and if you look at the historical outturn of it, it mirrors what's generally estimated. Obviously, in times of stress, as we've seen, like in Melissa, on other hurricanes, that would throw those projections off course, and we have to come back to Parliament with adjustments on that. But I can assure you, member, that there's a very robust process to get to our revenue projections, again predicated on our growth, on our GDP estimates, and just a detailed look and estimation of all the tax types for which we collect taxes. And that's how we do it, and that's the answer that I'm giving you today.
All right, Minister. But I will move on, Chairman.
Hey, man, me telling you something. Yo, Damien Crawford, bro, you're good enough, bro. You're good, bro. We People's National Party, I respect you. Una work for no money, you know. It's so sad in the opposition. Yeah, because I want to fear in the country. Because I tell you, say, hey, things are significantly better. Me not ask, I'm not asking. Tell me, anybody better than Andrew Wellness, any government better than Andrew Wellness government, but they are so right now. If you give Andre Stevenson the country for run, me not ask you. If you give loan some country for run, me not ask you. No, I will not say that. I will not say that. Yo, when I go say one next money, but me not say. Me not say. The labor right there would have to run. That the money when I run the country. The labor right there would have to run and pack up the doozy and leave the country. Yo, big up my brother talking my TV. Anyway, we're talking about TV then. Big up yourself, me general. Yo, me say, anyone talking about TV. Anyone talking about TV when I'm Prime Minister. The labor right there would have to run out of the country. Oh, Jesus. Hey, and the man family, my liberate. Yo, you know, I will put that. You never hear talking my television. I will put talking my TV family, my liberate. Oh, me say, yo, hey, oh, talking my television. The Prime Minister never heard out that country. Oh. No, man, what I do, me try to kind. Let me gather myself. Oh my God, Lord of mercy. Yo, but there's a picture talking about TV around the motor country. Oh God, that is funny. Let's continue, ladies and gentlemen. Oh Lord. Let's see. Let's see what? What's that? Pro box government. What? Oh, I am redeemer, say also. Ananias and Safari. Andrew and his wife. Lord have mercy. I don't even know what that is. What you are that one?
No, Mr. Minister.
No, I apologize, but I changed.
Please refer to the minister as the minister. So, Minister.
I immediately said minister. I apologize if she was
Minister.
No, that was not the intent at all. Minister, can I continue?
Minister, so are you comfortable with the response so far, Member Crawford, in respect of the revenue? You're comfortable with the response in respect of how the revenue estimates were arrived at?
Yes. I'm comfortable that the quantities were suggested to be relatively the same as last year. I'm comfortable.
Same as last year.
All right.
So Minister, I will allow the member to move to his next question.
Yes. All right. I'm not sure how this will be perceived, but did the ministry consider nutritional exemptions for items such as cherry milk, chocolate milk, etc.?
That going back to policy here, member?
Yeah, but well, if those were removed, the quantities would have been affected. If they were not removed, the quantities would not have been affected.
Member,
so the total revenue.
I don't know that we should be getting that detail in the policy of exactly which items are in the revenues at this stage.
I think that you're incorrect on the matter, Minister, but let's move on. So the answer has been given.
Member, we have some milk-based products that are exempted, and these will be itemized in the technical document that will be published.
Okay, so we have a future document will indicate that some nutritional products with sugar input have been exempted. Well, everybody's answering for the minister and contrary to the minister. The minister indicated that there are some milk products that would have been removed. All right. Well, I got two different answers. Chairman, my colleagues
Minister.
have indicated that they are interested.
Minister, I'm not sure what your colleagues have indicated. Minister, you heard the question?
I answered the question.
Did you answer the
I
question?
answered the question.
Next question, member.
I said there are some milk-based products that will be exempted and that there will be a technical document that will be published itemized.
Thank you.
That's exactly what I said.
No, is your side uninformed and was contradicting you, Minister? I was defending you. Further revenue measures, Minister, digital service tax. Now, having considered the impact of substitution services such as WhatsApp and the functionality of the Universal Service Fund, will a portion of the digital service tax be ring-fenced for the Universal Service Fund?
Member, we have a consolidated budget that over the years we have been bringing more and more into it from the fragmented segments of the government that was prevalent during your administration. We, whatever we collect in the consolidated fund, we look across all ministries, departments, and agencies. We take into consideration their budget when we put out the budget call and we put out the budget ceiling. We take all of that into consideration. So we try not to earmark monies because during the course of any fiscal year, there could be a need in one ministry relative to another, and so you have the flexibility when you manage a consolidated budget to be able to allocate where the needs are. So we will not be earmarking for USF in particular, but USF's budget will be considered during the budget process as it has been over the past several years.
Reasonable, thank you.
Hey, may I tell you, say, you see, the way the PMP are deal with this lady, may I tell you, them are deal with her so nice, but she's such a deficiency for the Jamaica Labour Party, and them know it, you know. That's why anytime them ask her a question, everybody I try to get involved. Because them sit down beside her and them uncomfortable, you know. Them uncomfortable. You understand? What is this? Hey, my moderator, I want to see crowbait them coming, man. Don't just block them, man. You know, she say, well, eat that just coming out. Look at the time of the night. For sure, you say, the labor right, them is so uncomfortable in themselves. Obviously, they know my page by now. I only take them hours a night if you sit down for listen to me. They might not even regular hours a night. If you come comment that. How much eat that this Mark Golden me talking? What is somebody I talk about? What is this person talking about? What is this person talking? People want to see comment a while ago. Stephen Bolo, Mark Golden, you're talking. You're rat bat. Oh, you know the person I am redeemer, some our labor right? Is a labor right? Let me know if it's a labor right, you know. I am redeemed. Let me know if it's a labor right. Then the comment that make sense because now me I think back, what did I say? If you said I am talking about Mark Golden. You don't understand. Oh, Mark Golden coming out. Me I talk about Favor Williams. Anyway, what me I say is that In basketball, I'm learning this from Kwame Brown. Big up Kwame Brown. Them call it picking a scab. Alright? Fitzroy, how you doing? So anytime in a basketball, when they find a weakness, somebody that's not so good on defense in the team, that team continuously attacks that person. It no matter who they might go after that person. They might try to get them in a pick and roll, especially with them best player. So the person that has the weakest defensive prowess is the one them attack. That's Favourable Williams for the Jamaica Labour Party, you know. And it's so funny that she is in one of the most important ministries in government. She is second to the Prime Minister. She's second to the Prime Minister, you know. Yeah, man, they're afraid of them, man. They're afraid of them, man. I tell you that. They're afraid of them.
Have the ministry conducted a distributional incident analysis to see which section of the society will be most affected by these tax?
You know, I've heard the concern that this will impact poor people the most. The tax will impact poor people the most. I would have to ask the Ministry of Health and Wellness, based on the experience with those who show up at the hospital, if that is the same population that's showing up. Obviously, we want everybody to be, to reduce their sugar intake, because we know it's not guessing and spelling about the impact.
Yo, Favour Williams, you sound like you drink too much sugar every day. Yeah, man, you don't sound like you're alkaline up at all. Honestly, you sound like you're sugar. You sound like sugar. You understand what I say? Your voice sound like sugar. You're saturated with sugar. Yo, the lady make me fall asleep, you know? I swear, brother.
Of sugar on health. There's no guess and spell about that. The data is there.
Chairman, unfortunately, the minister is not answering my question.
What is your question, Memo?
There's an economic activity called a distributional impact assessment that is seeking to see any policies impact on the different quintiles within the society.
Yo, Petal, exactly. How the hell did we get here? Yo, Damon Crawford style are nicely as the whole of there. Make it go back. Damon Crawford style are nicely as the whole of.
The minister is not answering my question.
What is your question, Memo?
There's an economic activity called a distributional impact assessment that is seeking to see any policies impact on the different quintiles within the society. Was such a study done, and what was the result of that study? That would confirm or deny if it is impacting the poor the most.
We take our data from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Jesus have mercy, Favour. Did you do that particular study that Mr. Damian Crawford, MP Damian Crawford, did you take the study? It's a yes or no question, you know? Why she a go around the bush in Jesus' name? Why she a go over the hill and through the mountain and under the cave? Mighty, every difficult way I can think about to travel to answer the question. This lady a take it. No, man.
They have incontrovertible data on the impact of sugar on the health of Jamaicans. Given the population that goes to our hospitals, it is clear that those people who are drinking more of the sugary beverage are the ones ending up in the health.
Favor, that is not the question. The question is, how do you ascertain that the poorer, the richer persons them is the one, or the poorer persons them is the one that is affected? That is the question.
Still it is. Member, we want the behavior of persons to change.
But your
Right?
projections
We
don't
want them-
suggest that you'll be successful. Minister, when we look at some figures here, and I understand that the tax is at source. At source, bag juice, $16, the tax would increase it by 31%. At source, Starbucks mocha, $329, the tax would increase it at 2%. Red Bull Tropical, $293, the tax will increase it at 1.7%. Welch's sparkling wine, the tax, and this wine doesn't include alcohol, the tax would increase it at 1.6%. And Crush Peach, which is a juice imported for $841, the tax will increase it at 0.84%. No, you're not at the seat. You can answer when you get there. So therefore, Minister, the bag juice tax is 31% just based on the quantity, as versus the Starbucks tax at 2.4. Can I have some protection?
Yeah, because they might try to crowd out Damian Crawford, and Damian Crawford have her in a one spin cycle right now. He might make her look slow. You understand? And unintelligent and unequipped for the job. That's what he just did. Because the stuff, the data where Damian mentioned, those items are not bought by by poor people. I be rich people buy Welch's and them something. Poor people can't afford that. Poor people can't afford that. So they are, by essence of the fact that their items are being taxed less, it means that this thing actually target the poor. Bag juice and them something that people buy. I mean, come on, bro. I be a poor people buy them something, brother. Rich people now buy no bag juice, brother. The fact that they can't afford to buy actual grape juice, they might go buy it. Because they can't afford it. It's all about affordability at the end of the day. So they really don't care about who is the masses of the country, no poor people. So the masses is the one they targeted to get the tax from, and they just don't want to admit it because they want to jump up on a chat about no new taxes. Look at gotta beat them bad. Look at gotta beat them bad.
Man, can I have some protection? So, Minister, would you agree that the choice of a quantity per milliliter tax disproportionately impacts cheaper beverages? Can I have some protection, Chairman? Oh, he's there for? Okay.
Crawford.
And I'm saying something to express caution on the direction that you're seeking to go. In this book tabled by the Minister of Finance, the revenue measures for the financial year, the minister has a figure for total revenue. That total revenue is dependent on the tax times quantity, or some would say price times quantity. It therefore is well within the permit to question the quantities that were used to arrive at the total revenue. The minister has intervened to suggest that the policy was going to be beneficial either way. I never asked her about that policy. I asked her on what basis did she arrive at the quantities that carried the revenues to our understanding and analysis?
Hey, let me tell you. You see a good lawyer or a good investigator, they already have the answers to the questions that they ask most of the time. You see, because Damian Crawford is equipped with the data, the man come prepared. A numbers man is not ramp with him. Yo, the man mean business. Listen me just want everybody in our PMP, just stay united. We got this. We have the right team to run the country. Yeah, man, we have the right team to run the country, man. We got this, man. Stay firm, comrades. Stay firm.
Chairperson, I want to just move quickly to the same revenue measures, specifically as it relates to the proposed general consumption tax on digital services, Minister. And I see where in the fourth quarter you expect to earn 300 million. Could you advise us what are the digital components that are expected to be have the application of the GCT?
All right, member, you will note that the estimate of 300 million is quite low, and that is because it requires us to do quite a bit of work to get there. That's why we're not overly estimating our intake in the upcoming fiscal year. We are working with the OECD. We're working with their framework because there's a lot that you have to put in place. We're looking at the experience of other countries. There are several countries that have instituted this. And in terms of the components of it, I wouldn't be able to list all of those today. I wouldn't be able to list those at all. As we do the work, and as we get closer to implementation, we will speak more about that.
All right, thank you, Minister. But that 300 million, I don't think you pulled it from a hat. So it must have been grounded in something. So what are those possible? We heard about streaming services. So there's a figure that is there that has been put forward, right? So I understand that you may be continuing to work through, but we hear issues of streaming services, ChatGPT, Netflix. So I'm asking specifically, what is that 300 million so far grounded in? Chairman, can you allow the... Yes, Minister.
Sure. Well, I'll just repeat what I said to you. In putting together what constitutes digital services, we are working with the OECD, who is at
Yo, Peter says she feel done when she listens to it. I know, I'm not joking. Vian, how are you doing? I can't believe FAILBAD is educated. She seems unaware. No, listen. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't care how educated you are. If you are operating in a zone where it is not your qualifications, then you will be in limbo. Favor Williams should not be in this type of job. I tell you, Favor Williams has a gift. She should have created an Audible app that she owns that people can access with a monthly fee to listen to her speak when they have sleeping disorders. Because just listening to her speak and mumble, you're going to fall asleep. I am fighting sleep right now, ladies and gentlemen. Fighting it. Let's continue.
Working with other countries on this to get to implementation of it. We will make decisions along the way. It will be premature for us to put those items out there now. We've looked at the experience of countries. We've seen where they started and how they ramped up. And those are the guidelines that we've been using. And as again, I say to you, our estimate is not overly optimistic because of the work we're going to have to do in the upcoming tax year in order to get to implementation.
Madam
She married, man.
Speaker. All right, the final question I have around that is the issue of how is it proposed? And I hear, Minister, that it is going to be, we are still contemplating and working out the mechanics around the, Minister Mackenzie, just hold on a minute. How is it proposed? Is there any initial consideration, since this has been placed in the estimates in terms of the revenue measures? How is it proposed, Minister, to actually collect these taxes?
Member, again, I can say to you, the most efficient way to calculate will be at source, but again, it requires quite a bit of work on our part, working with our international partner, who has helped many countries to put this system into effect. The details of it will become known. Just allow us to work through that process, and maybe at another meeting of Parliament or a committee meeting like this one, we can tell you the details of it.
All right, thank you, Minister. I mean, a lot of our companies are, in terms of their planning, are waiting on the government for clarity. So I urge the Minister and the team to have that clarification in short order.
So that's why we're not implementing it on day one. We're allowing time for this, for companies to ask us questions, and as we work along, as we move along, we'll be working with the company.
Yo, them just try to figure things out.
Thank you.
They don't know what
Minister, I think we can agree that the 1948 Customs Act is badly, urgently in need of reform. 2020, the legislation was brought here. This is 2026. When are we likely to see the implementation of that legislation?
It will be coming back to Parliament this fiscal year, because there are a number of amendments that were proposed when it went to the Senate.
It's 5 years, 6 years ago.
And given the intervening election, we have to take it back again through some parts of the process. But I am motivated and committed to ensuring that it comes to the Parliament during this upcoming fiscal year.
Thank you, Chair. So the first question.
Lord Jesus. This a man a microphone loud like how I could all hear Favour Williams a while ago. I know this a man a bust up. Mr. Newell, I not even know say ask Favour Williams a question. The last time you asked Favour Williams questions, he never go well for you, no? Let us see how this go.
Just on the road maintenance aspect of the budget, Minister, is there any allocation for the northern coastal highway, which has some significant compromises along the way?
So yes, there is allocation for basic maintenance. There are interventions to take place in that side of the island under the Spark program.
Different thing
I suspect you're referring to the northeast section of it.
Correct.
That is going to be under some general maintenance through the National Works Agency.
Thank you, Minister. The Spark program, I know it lists 10 roads per constituency. In constituencies such as mine, where residents would have gone on the Spark site and seen 10 roads listed, but the budgetary allocation only covering, say, 4 roads. Do you have any projection in terms of what kind of interventions can be done for those additional 6 roads that are listed but may not be repaired before 2030? Roads like Esher to Highgate, for example.
So the entity continues to do work on roads, and we are going to also have a Spark 2, as we have committed to. So some of the roads that are not going to...
A Spark what?
Continues to do work on roads, and we are going to also have a Spark 2, as we have committed to.
Yo, Jamaica, I don't know still it up, but you can't smell bullshit that come out of man them mouth when them attack. Like, you just, like, you have, yo, you know the instincts. Yo, I could never vote for these people. The man say them have a Spark too.
Some of the roads that are not going to be able to be done under Spark will be done under general maintenance and rehabilitation, and others will be done under Spark 2.
Thanks.
So they failed under Spark 1, and he's saying on a general, on that them both Spark, you know. Spark failed to fix their road, you see? So on that general maintenance, them are going to fix the road. So why you couldn't just do general maintenance and fix the road then? Why the Spark? Because the Spark now Spark, you know? Spark now Spark.
So for the senior minister, who is the minister in economic growth? Who is the minister in economic growth with the responsibility for environment and climate matters?
There is none, because that is not a subject area under the ministry.
So to whom does the National Environment and Planning Agency in its role as administrator for the NRCA Act report? Who has policy oversight?
With regards to policy oversight for NEPA, that is within the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development. But there is the Ministry of Water, Climate Change and Environment.
So I have some questions relating to NEPA. The fines, the increase in fines for environmental violations that was approved by Cabinet last year, will it be implemented in the new fiscal year?
That should be an easy
They have
question.
been implemented, member.
They have been. In terms of housing, Minister, there are a number of developments that the ministry would have inherited from different legacy projects. Is there any plan for example, the HAG to intervene where there are infrastructure deficiencies in those housing developments in the coming fiscal year?
Yes, indeed, member.
So communities such as Frontier Phase 2, can they expect some intervention to complete their water and road projects, which are long overdue?
At this point in time, I am not able to tell you when a start-up date, but I can invite you, as we intend to do, members of Parliament for consultation as we move to implementation.
Thanks. And will you be able to share just with the House
I
a
most
list of
certainly will
projects
share
that
with
will
us,
be...
because, for example, member, earlier this week we had a consultation with a number of your colleagues, because the National Land Agency has proposed some action, and we felt it to be prudent to invite the members of Parliament and have a consultation with them. And we will continue that program.
Thanks.
Wow. But I miss some of it, man. And all it. I don't get all of every day them. Don't call me no too much. Don't call me no bagga bagga. Hey, don't call me no too much. Don't call me no bagga bagga. Call me no too much. Call me no bagga bagga. Hey, don't call me no too much. Call me no bagga bagga. Hey. Yes.
Seeking clarification on the amendments you made, and I just want to ensure I heard you correctly. The sums that are being transferred for the hurricane relief, are those that were in the contingency on the capital side or the contingency on the recurrent side, the capital
On the
side?
capital.
So we would, in the
Vian, them never did go Portland. Them never got Portland, Vian. No, they didn't. You have to watch it, you know, nuts. It's tough, you know, but you have to watch it, you know. You have some important issues in our country we have to keep your eyeball upon. You understand?
be reducing the capital budget by the order of these transfers. Since you have brought these issues here, can I ask, in relation to NARA, could you indicate when you anticipate NARA to be operational and what structure NARA will have? Will it be the equivalent of a public body? What would be the framework that underpins how NARA operates? And the timeline, yeah.
Currently, I know that the technical team is hard at work to get NARA up and running. It will be a statutory body with all the laws and regulations surrounding statutory bodies. So that, as we speak, is in train. You know that legislation would have to be brought to Parliament to get that set up. So that will be the first order of the day.
So could you give a time frame? Are we talking first quarter, next fiscal year, second quarter? Give an estimate as to when you think it will be operational.
All right, so as indicated, member, quite a bit of work is going on. We have to get the legislative work done first. Once that is done, people have to be hired on. I know already the Prime Minister has his list of projects that he's prioritizing to get done. These will be large projects that will be done through this entity. So there is some work done, but the team is moving swiftly to get it done.
I appreciate the work being done, and I know everybody's working quickly, but is it that you're unable to estimate a time frame at this point in time? And can you come back to us and say to us by the close of play that you think by second quarter of the fiscal year it will be up and operating? That's what I'm asking specifically. Appreciating that everybody's working, everybody's moving quickly. I'm just asking for a time frame.
So, member, there's still matters being discussed in cabinet. As soon as we have all the approvals from cabinet, I am sure the Prime Minister will speak to exactly the time frame for the establishment and the operations of this entity.
Thank you very much, Minister. Just seeking clarification. In relation to your revenue. All right, let me move on. In January of this year, the government announced...
Ladies and gentlemen, you see the question that Mr. Julian Robinson asks, Favour Williams, is a very important question. I'm going to tell you why. I want you guys to look up what is the purpose of NARA in Jamaica. NARA, the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority, right, was established by the government of Jamaica in the late 2020, right, as a specialized agency tasked with leading and accelerating the country's recovery and rebuilding efforts following the devastation caused by Hurricane Melissa. Now, NARA is supposed to do what? Leading and accelerating the country's recovery and rebuilding efforts. So, ladies and gentlemen, the fact that NARA has not yet been fully open and established, they cannot lead or accelerate the recovery and rebuilding efforts. So Jamaica stall again under the Labour Party, going nowhere fast. You hear me say Jamaica? Going nowhere fast. I want to put that in our pipe and smoke it. It goes on to say NARA serves as a centralized, high-level authority operating directly under the office of the Prime Minister. Mighty God, to build back better by creating more durable and climate-resilient infrastructure. Jamaica, a be a bagger, a be a banger. You hear me say? All right, you remember good. Let's continue.
Financing package of 6.7 billion US dollars, or approximately.
What you say? There is no members of the department Vian. No, it no come together yet. That me I try to tell you. Nara is an empty shell, is a concept that has not been materialized. That is the point. That's why Mr. Julian Robinson was asking for a timeline when that would be established and what kind of entity will it be? You know, from what spectrum is it going to be operated?
Just over 1 trillion Jamaican dollars from various internet. All right, let me move on. In January of this year, the government announced a financing package of 6.7 billion US dollars, or approximately just over 1 trillion Jamaican dollars from various international financial institutions. Can you provide details of the facilities which have been provided by the specific institutions and what the government has accessed thus far and what the government intends to access during the upcoming 26-27 fiscal year?
All right. So member, you're correct. 6.7 billion was announced as the financing package. 6.7 billion US dollars as the financing package that would be available to Jamaica. But in order to understand that, you have to break it down. 1 billion of that consisted of funds that were already, considered for the government. 1 billion included things like the catastrophe bonds, the funds that we got from CCRIF or regional insurance companies, catastrophe risk insurance company, the NNDRF, which is National Natural Disaster Reserve Fund, the IMF, IDB, and World Bank instruments. So that was in that $1 billion.
And that 1 billion would have been accounted for in the current fiscal year, in terms of receipts. Okay.
Right. But also I'm saying as well, so if you take that billion off, it leaves 5.7 billion, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then 2.4 billion of that is earmarked for private sector investments together with government. So we'll be down to $3.2 billion, and those will be the kinds of, those will go to funding the projects that ANARA would coordinate and oversee over some period of time.
So would that then be reflected in the allocations that you are making to NARA, and you anticipate that those would be drawn down and spent for 26-27?
Right. So some of the allocation will be reflected there, but it would be for the preliminary pre-investment work that needs to be done on these projects. As you can imagine, when you have large projects.
Minister, my colleagues asking you to speak a little more into the mic. Yeah.
Some of it is reflected there. As I was saying, as you can imagine, when you have large projects, there's a lot of pre-investment work that has to go on, and by pre-investment we mean the scoping out, the design, whatever architectural work needs to be done, environmental work, and so on. So there is some allocation for that type of work. Right, so there's 10 billion there to ensure that that component of the work will go on in this fiscal year.
In 26, 27.
Upcoming fiscal year.
All right, so the 2.4 billion US in funding for private sector projects, that would be dependent on projects that are presented to, for example, like an IFC as an example, the private sector arm of the World Bank. So if if individuals present projects, that money is available. Is that what you're saying? It's not
Right, so
funding for central government
right,
at
so
all?
the IFC, the IDB invests those arms. However, those investments will be coordinated with government as well, because government also will have significantly large projects that the private sector can take on.
Okay, so you anticipate those being PPPs that are in the pipeline that would be accessed?
Right, there are some in the pipeline.
Okay.
All right.
All right. In terms of you alluded in your opening remarks to the situation in the Middle East and the impact that is likely to have on the economy. You indicated the movement in oil prices. It has two effects. It will have a balance of payment effect, but also you will collect some more tax revenues from GCTs and STCs. What contingencies are in place to deal with the likely impact of inflation from the increases in oil prices, particularly on those who are most vulnerable?
All right, so the war that started, it's in its first week, the impact we would begin to be very concerned about the impact depending on how long the war goes on. In the near term, we will see the first effect of it through oil prices here in Jamaica. We expect consumers in the near term to manage their budgets accordingly. Again, it's going to depend the longer term impact of it and whether or not government will be required to assist will depend on the duration of this war that's happening in the Middle East. So it's something that we're watching closely. And of course, if government is required to assist.
And I noted the financial secretary, in response to a question from the opposition leader, indicated that inflation rate.
I don't know about Uni, but did you hear the sigh come from Julian Robinson? Boy, may I tell you, the patience what this man have. Now that woman make me tired. Yo, favor make me tired, favor, but not lie.
Great figure.
Favor like drain my energy, bro. Where there? I walk one. What is? What is happening? The internet. You can hear me? Yo, you guys can hear me? Yeah, you guys can hear me? We good now? Oh, the other live gone? Hold on. Yo, you guys can hear me? Am I back? Wow. I don't know what happened. Let's continue.
For 25-26 was revised downwards from 10, that inflation rate. I noted the financial secretary in response to a question from the opposition leader.
No man, I'm still live.
Rate figure for 25-26
I'm still live, man. You're not in.
Downwards from 10% to I believe 5.6. You have projected a nominal GDP growth of 9.2% for 26-27 and a real growth of negative 0.5%, which assumes a deflator of 9.7%. Given the downward revision in inflation, does that deflator, do you believe that that deflator is still accurate? And
yeah, man, no.
Because
it has not ended. I'm still live over there. No, it has not ended. That's not accurate. That's not accurate. I'm still live. People in Pan 2.0, they can't hear me, right? Live, man. I don't know if I hear a side, them a mess you, but me live over there, man. Can come back over if you want. You see it? Yeah, man. Try again, man.
Inflation has moderated relative to the original expectations.
It's interesting that you should narrow in on that because that is the contention of the fiscal commissioner, that our inflation numbers were too high, and he pointed out the risk of that. So it's interesting now that we are being asked, why do we take that down to 5.6%? Well, let me say, at the time of the estimate of the 10%, you have to go back to December, January, when these numbers were being put together. In the environment in which we were at that time, food prices were up significantly. You recall the price of green pepper and other items were just off the charts. So it was not unreasonable at the time to have estimated inflation of that magnitude. We have since seen new inflation numbers. They've moderated quite a bit. And so we've gone back and made the reduction in that early number to reflect the new data that became available to us.
I totally understand that. I'm now going further to ask whether you believe the assumption of the deflator of 9.7% for 26-27, given the moderation of inflation, is still a number that you believe would hold, because you have almost, the outturn of inflation has almost been just over half of what the projection was. The 9.7 deflator assumes built in probably a larger than real inflation number. So I'm saying with the moderation and accepting now with the Middle East conflict that there are uncertainties. But I'm just asking if you still believe that that 9.7 deflator will hold.
We're expecting that to be low.
Right, that's what I would anticipate, yeah.
But then it's a dynamic situation.
Right, because I said the war could, yes, and I'm accepting that, yeah.
Whoa.
Can I shift a little to your wages and the provision for wages and salaries? You have a contingency of 42 billion that has been provided in the overall figure of 555 billion. Can you give a breakdown of what you would anticipate the 42 billion to cover? Would it cover, for example, a provision for a potential IDT award coming out of the issue with the Jamaica Medical Doctors Association, as an example? Does it include the agreement of the commitment of a 2% increase that was made last year, or a commitment that was said last year, but I don't know whether that would be paid in the upcoming fiscal year. So I'm asking for what the 42 billion would cover in terms of the contingencies for wages and salary negotiations.
Remember, as you correctly identified, the 42 billion that has been provided in the budget for wages and salaries anticipate that there will be a settlement in this new fiscal year. And we have to make provision for that, whether or not it happens.
Settlement of which one specifically? The JMDA IDT one, and there may be others. Which specific ones?
For the government wage offer that's on the table. At least we had to create space for that in the budget. We don't, with regards to the IDT awards, we don't know where those will come out at yet. We have other contingencies in the budget from which we could draw from. But given that we know what is the offer from government, we're able to estimate how much that is and put that in the budget.
One of the issues raised by the Fiscal Commissioner relates to the misalignment of the negotiating cycle between the unions and the government in preparation for the budget. I know for 25-26, the unions would have presented their claims in about November of 2024 in anticipation of the new fiscal year. But it has taken the government much longer than anticipated to conclude those negotiations, which means you keep having to carry relatively large contingencies because you don't have a an accurate figure of what your commitments are going to be, can you commit that going forward for the next fiscal year, that the negotiation cycle will align with the budgetary cycle, so that in preparation for the budget, you will have an idea of what your commitments are on the wages and salary side?
Okay, so the alignment with the budget will be, it's not just the government. The government can't just decree that wage negotiations align with the budget. You know how negotiations work. Two sides come to the table. This side says, I have A. The other side says, I want A plus, whatever that plus is. And it takes a while to negotiate, to come back to the table, to leave, come back again. And the two sides have to meet. Yes, I understand what the fiscal commissioner is calling for. Calling for certainty in the budget. But that's why we have contingencies in the budget, because there are always uncertainties in the budget. Of course, government would love to settle with the unions. That goes without saying. But it takes two. It's not just the government. Government cannot decree a wage settlement. We have to sit at the table with the unions as many times as required for us to get to an agreement, and that's how it is. We could walk into Parliament and we could legislate, but in reality, the process is what determines.
You see, all the people in there, them wage debater, all she are telling us is this: the government is not going to budge. Whatever it is them a offer or that them a offer. Jamaica, on wake up here, you must know, you suffer. The people them specifically in the wage debate me I talk about. You wake up and listen to the tone of the minister. The minister make you know indirectly, say, you read between the lines. She is not the one who are gonna make that happen. You are gonna make it happen. And it's either you accept what the government a give, or we just gonna continue the entire situation of the economy and the issue of not having, a fixed thing and having all these contingency here, contingency there. The thing is gonna be continuously in limbo. You're never gonna have any real stability, because the government does not plan to give you what you want. That is exactly what she had tell you. If it was me, that would have read into it. Want to tell me if me wrong? Tell me if me wrong.
The cycle of the wage negotiation. But I fully understand where the fiscal commissioner is coming from, and just the risk to the budget when you have the wage negotiation outstanding without any idea of when it will be concluded.
So she understands the risk. That means Andrew understands the risk. The next question is, why are they not doing everything that they can do to facilitate that stability? That are the next question in Jamaica. Yo, me say them a people. Nobody can tell me say them a man and a sabotage you, brother. Real sabotage them a man. Man, a weapon they farm against this blows and skirt country. Remember me did tell you that. Remember say me did tell you that, yeah? Next continue.
All right. I want to shift to your revenue measures, and in particular the environmental levy, the increase in the environmental levy, and the movement of the levy from 75% to 100% of sales. This measure will place local manufacturers at a competitive disadvantage vis-a-vis those who import products, and it could be the exact same product. The importer would pay the levy on the imported inputs, whereas the local manufacturer pays 100% on the value of sales. So there is if you want to call it an unintended consequence, where the local manufacturer is placed at a disadvantage relative to the importer. Have you recognized that, and do you intend to have you recognized that, and do you intend to address that anomaly or that deficiency in how the tax measure was proposed?
In short, member, my technical person, just from listening to your question, has indicated that that is not the case in terms of the domestic and the importer being on an uneven playing ground. That is not the case.
Meaning, you're saying it's not the case. So the importer pays on inputs, but the manufacturer pays on total sales. That's not the case?
All right. Member, thank you for raising that question. We've heard it from the manufacturers as well. And as you can see, it's a technical issue. My understanding is that for the manufacturer, the 75% is on sales, whereas the importer, it is on CIF, which is a landed cost, but in that landed cost, there is a markup as well. But just to say, though, that we met with the industry yesterday to hear from them, and this is one that we will put some numbers to, because we do not believe that there is a disadvantage to the manufacturers versus the importer. So we will do that, and we will continue our conversation.
Them no believe, you know. Them no believe. How kind of bugger government this? Yo, it really bad, you know. It really bad. At this they mean by choose Jamaica? She no believe. That is what we're... Listen to me. When it comes down to faith, you know, belief, you understand? But you see, when it comes down to math and numbers, bro, no, bro, I don't believe, bro. You see, you understand what's gonna happen, or you don't. And can anybody tell me that they're confident in FAILBAD Williams and the Jamaica Labour Party running our economy? If you can tell me, say, I'm not confident, any labourite out there can look for me with a straight face. If you know nothing about nothing, and you listen to FAILBAD Williams, you tell me, say, you confident in what going on in your country economically? All I hear is a bag of uncertainty. No real firm, nothing. They are out of their element, Jamaica. Gotta expose them wicked. Hey, me tell you, know, the prophet never wrong, you know. The prophet say it is going to be a tenuous time. It's a Pyrrhic victory. It's gonna be a victory for Andrew. It better if he never did win. I remember me telling you, know, he pressure cooker just a turn up. You not even reach max level yet. Oh no, wait look a bit. Oh no, wait look a bit. Wait look a bit.
With the industry.
The other revenue measure, the SET on sweetened beverages, in particular for those producers who produce both for the domestic market and the export market. The tax applies for domestic production and consumption and for importation. But many of the manufacturers would have one production system. Given this imposition, it would necessitate someone who is producing the same product both locally and for export to, I suppose, manage separately those from an accounting perspective, how they treat with exports versus those for the domestic market for the same product. And from a financial management perspective, it's just an additional burden which the manufacturers would have to take on to separate what they are going to export from what they would do for domestic production.
The question is?
No, well, it's more a statement of the added, if you want to call it burden, that would be placed on those manufacturers when they have to make that distinction. So it's really not a question. But I'll pause here, and if my colleagues have other questions that they wish to ask the minister.
So basically, Julian Robinson makes you know, say, it's not what about you believe, it's the actual situation. That's what he just explained a while ago. He countered her argument that she made.
Minister, I noticed that the Postal Corporation of Jamaica, you're projecting an increase in revenue of commercial services. I'm concerned and I'm asking, what has been the implication of the U.S. executive order to suspend duty-free diminished treatment for all countries? How has this impacted, or how will it impact the revenue, commercial services revenue of the corporation?
So, member, thank you for that question, but the post office has not indicated to us that they're seeing any severe impact or an impact from that policy.
Minister, that's a main income stream for the Postal Corporation. So I think it is important to know how this impacted, in addition to the fact that many post offices were affected by Melissa. So your revenue income your commercial services revenue would be impacted, but you are projecting to increase this in the upcoming year. Is there some other way to increase this?
Member, could you repeat your question? And if you could be a little bit more specific.
The question, Minister, is that quite a few post offices were affected by Melissa. As a matter of fact, most post offices are closed. How are you projecting to increase commercial services revenue for 26-27? They were badly affected by Melissa and closed. How are you projecting to increase commercial services revenue in addition to the order, the executive order by the US, where the Postal Corporation is revenue for packages under $800? That's a main income stream for the Postal Corporation. That would have been affected by the order, the executive order of August 2025. But you're projecting an increase in commercial services revenue. What is it that the Postal Corporation will be doing to fill this revenue that you're projecting?
All right, so the projections there would come from the entity who best understand the business that they're in, the different streams of business, and what they will be able to do in the coming year to maintain and improve their revenues. As I said earlier on, that entity has not, through the budget process, brought to our attention any negative impact that it is seeing, and I'm sure if it was, it would be reflected in their ask of the Ministry of Finance, because to the extent that their revenues are negatively impacted, they would have to make it up someplace else. And generally, it's to the Ministry of Finance that they come, and we have not seen, we haven't gotten that information that they are suffering at all from that policy in the US.
In essence, Minister, you're saying that you're not equipped to answer the question then?
So no. Let me respond, because obviously the member does not yet have an appreciation or know of the budget process, right? Does not.
Wait, she's spicy. Got you, favor. Got you, favor.
She just does not know. I'm trying to explain to her. I am explaining to her that there is a budget call that goes out. The ministries and departments and agencies put together their own budget. They come to the Ministry of Finance for discussion and analysis of what they put together. Ministries that are having issues or they think that they will need some help from the Ministry of Finance because of whatever the marketplace is throwing up at them. That is when we would get that information. To the extent that it did not show up during the budget process, it is safe to assume that the entity is not seeing anything that would negatively impact its revenue projections.
Really?
So that's the answer. So just because you don't like the answer does not mean that I've not provided you with an answer.
Member, do you have
Minister?
any additional questions?
I'd like to make a statement.
No, member, no statement necessary.
Minister?
No, member, no statement necessary. Do you have any additional questions? Any additional questions?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, after which it is Member Dawes and then Member Jackson. No, not you yet, Member Jackson. Dawes and then Jackson.
So here comes Juliet Holness doing what she does. Lock down the PMP. So Favour Williams can make statement and try to, get hot under the collar. Cause she under pressure, she in the pressure cooker, And she not even, mighty God, why? Me love when PMP a gala. Keep exposing them, man. Keep exposing them already. Them already not
Jackson. Member, go to your next question, please.
Minister, while I can appreciate being a new member.
No statements. It is at your next question. No, your next question. Listen, member, when you make comments to the minister is going to answer you as well. So if you can't take the heat, you have to stay out of the kitchen.
Yeah.
You have to move to the next one.
Yeah.
Yes, and you can't make any statement again. Do you have any more questions? Do you have any more questions?
Minister?
Member, you have any more questions, not statements?
Minister?
She out of order. You see, this is why she cannot be the Speaker of the House. Because she's biased. She biased.
Minister?
She had tried to defend Favour.
Do you have any more questions?
Member, I will not go out of character to match yours.
Member Daly, please control yourself.
Hey, me love my lady this, man.
Please, members, allow the member to ask her question if you have another question.
She rude, man. She's rude. She rude.
Minister.
I'm not sorry for Favour again. Favour more than can talk. Favour a whole snake.
Member Miller Bennett, if
Rubber
you're
out.
taking instructions from other members in the House before you can move to your next question, if you have no other question, then you'll have to let me know you have no other question so I can move to the next member. So I've been asking you, do you have another question? And if you can ask your next question. You notice I've been asking her?
Is Minister?
You know?
Turn on the mic.
Ugly blouse and skirt size 30. In disgusting, he always do it to PMP, he never do that to JLP yet, you know? All crow bait, all Jezebel.
Minister,
Doreen, what's up?
I think we can agree that the 1948 Customs Act is badly, urgently needed of
we listen that already.
So, I was expecting a targeted approach in the.
The minister has responded.
I'll move to the next question, Chair. The point has been made.
Member Russell.
Yes.
Member Russell. The social programs that are budgeted, for the minister is saying, continue to be skewed in its implementation to always those who need it the most. So it is included in your estimates. And how do you budget? She will be back here when needed for her supplementary estimates if the reality is not the same as we initially projected. So this first discussion...
But Chair, that's what I'm asking.
Right,
like, what is the effect? So you then would project based on that, and you'd also have the policy measures in place, right? So it should not be left to chance, which if I take Minister's response, it is left to chance. What I'm asking for is, have you projected, and as such, having done the projections, are you then going to be targeted in your policies to ensure that we get... Because historically, the rates have not come down as quickly as the national rates, right? Okay, let me move to the next question. The revenue measure related...
Hey, them things say PMP, them are dunce. Them things say them can wrap them round. Intelligent people not deal with. Sit down, size 13, you're not the minister. Let the minister help herself. When I try to shield her and she get whap, 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 whap. With blows and skirt and she going like such intelligent. She me no blur nah business about favor. I don't rub her out in a parliament. Rub her out. She spicy like Him a go like say him a want look a poor thing, but a snake that rub her out. Never trust a snake.
To
Wanna
duty
rub him out with
concession on new petitions,
information.
Minister. Can you tell us the effect this is likely to have if you've done a well? Can you tell us the effect this is likely to have on for a concession of for a motor vehicle in the range of about $5 million? What is the likely benefit that will accrue to the individual who has applied for this concession with the new policy measure? Secondly, has there been any conversations with the unions, given that there is the view that this concession was part of negotiations in a negotiated agreement with the union? So those are the two final questions. Thank you.
All right, member, I am reliably informed again that this is not a union agreement, does not form part, and in fact, when the former Minister of Finance was doing the wage restructuring, this particular benefit should have been rolled up into the wages, but for some reason it wasn't already rolled up. Should have been removed because of the wage restructuring that brought wages up to a higher level to market. So this should have been removed, but it was left in place. So it should have been removed, but we're not removing it fully. We're just asking those who avail themselves of it to pay the GCT.
Mm-hmm. Now the effect on benefits. What is the likely effect on the individual benefit? What is it likely to be now versus before?
This is sad.
All right, so again, during the period that this existed, it was during a period when wages were significantly lower than they are now. This government went through a wage restructuring that significantly improved the wage level of the public sector to market or very close to market. And so this benefit at that time of the wage restructuring should have been removed, but it wasn't. We are asking those who avail themselves of the benefit now to pay GCT. The SCT will remain exempt, and they will additionally pay the 20% import duty. They'll pay the 20% import duty as well as the GCT.
I had used the example of a $5 million vehicle. What I'm trying to get is a clearer sense of, at an individual level, what does it mean? You know, what is the effect of the changes in this benefit for an individual? I don't know if have you done that calculation?
Right. So member, I am going to ask you to just experiment with your own calculation of 15% GCT. And I think you will come very close to the answer.
She don't know. She don't know. This is so sad. Oh God, no man.
My question is regarding the program which I loved so much and was hoping that by this point in time I would have had my entire constituency properly electrified. So the rural electrification program started by the great Michael Joshua Manley.
Yellow man.
Yellow man. Became, and by the time I came, I would like to have an opportunity to ask my question. Remember from Denham Town? Yeah. When I came to office in 2007, we're already about or somewhere over 80 or 85% of the country being fully electrified, right? Then by 2016, I thought we were somewhere in the region of about 89, 90%, right? Or 90, 95%. Now, that went to NESOL, a failed entity, which just shut down with all of the projects that were in train. Minister, I must give you your props here, so. Because the last time that we were ever able to identify a sum allocated to a constituency was when you had a brief stint in that ministry. I must let you know. And that the project that you had identified then, when you allocated, I think it was $3 million to each constituency, certainly those of us in the rural areas, only finished this year, the project finished this year. And that project has still not been electrified because we're told JPS has too many other things to do, right? So we've been waiting all these years. Now, I am trying to find out, especially for the new members of parliament, now that the program has moved to the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, outside of writing to JSIF, because writing to JSIF means just sending a letter indicating all the areas which need the service. What is the process to determine when these communities will be served? Who determines the priorities? What is in the budget for this year for this project so that we can have an idea of what to tell those who sent us here as to when they're going to get extension of pole lines and wiring of their houses?
Notice how much leeway you got, member? All right. No, because I was going to call it before.
Holy you, that be nice, man. Nobody know I hear, man. Be quiet, man. I make the people them deliberate and talk and ask them questions.
So Minister, in short, the wonderful member.
All right, member.
On the rural electrification.
Electrification is close to my heart, even though I don't have a rural constituency, but I do have persons in the constituency who should be regularized. Not just Dixon, but in the constituency, St. Andrew Eastern. The budget for electrification is $400 million, and you asked what is the process. I understand that persons can apply to the MP, the Ministry of Science, or to JSIF to get it done. Correction on that number, it's 331, not 400 million.
Follow-up question from Gordon.
Minister, don't you think, through you to the JSIF, that it would be fair and just to allocate to each constituency and a figure which they can now budget and plan around and be able to have discussions with their community groups, and we can anticipate action? We're now living in just hope and prayer that maybe somebody will bless me. I don't want that. You know, people elected us and we want to come here knowing that we can put our pots on fire for next year. You know, some are get and some not get. You know, all animals created equal, but some were equal than others. We want a system that will allow all of us to be able to reasonably plan and forecast on behalf of the people we serve.
Tell them, man. 1 meter, girl.
Member Campbell.
Thank you, Chair. Minister, what percentage of GDP is salaries and wages currently?
I'm getting the page for you.
Wow.
Wages and the salaries for 26 for the new fiscal year coming up will be 13.5%.
13.5%. Can you say what percentage increase did you use in your projection for the salaries for the upcoming financial year?
All right, we are still at the negotiating table. You have to allow us to go through that process. The unions, as you can imagine, they don't want to hear issues about the negotiations in public. So it is not something that I can talk about right now while the wage negotiation is still open and still underway.
So you can't say what percentage you used to do the estimates that are here? No? So what was your last offer?
Again, remember, this is a negotiating process between government and the various unions. Protocol would dictate that you don't go in the public and state what your offer is as government or talk about what the unions come to the table asking for. Please allow us to go through that process to get to an agreement, and then we can share what it is if the unions allow us to share. Right?
Okay. Your projection for growth for this year is -5%? And 3% for next year, and then 2.7% for the year after, averaging 1.5% over the next 4 years. That's correct?
Sorry, member, while I was searching for the book, I missed your question. Could you repeat those numbers again?
You can just tell me what the numbers are, your projections for growth.
For real growth, real GDP growth, for fiscal year 2026-27, it's negative 0.5%. Then we move into recovery, 27, 28, 3.3%, 2.6%, and then 1%.
So with that, you have an average of roughly 1.5 over the next 4 years.
Okay.
Yes?
And the question, remember we're recovering from a category 5. Actually 2 back-to-back hurricanes. We're recovering from those. We expect it to ramp up, but it will take time.
So what's your projected increase for wages and salaries over the next 4 years as a percentage of GDP?
This bag of excuses.
So in our policy book, if you take a look at the table, it gives you a sense of wages and salary as a percent of the GDP that we are projecting.
So Minister, the fact that a percentage is determined by either decreasing your numerator or increasing your denominator here being GDP, the fact that that is projected to grow by 1.5% over the next 4 years suggests that either you're going to have to keep wages and salaries where they are, or you're going to have to decrease, or you're going to have to revise and grow the GDP by a much bigger number, or that percentage, that 13% that it is of GDP now, will balloon over the next couple of years.
So remember, in the projection for the upcoming fiscal year, the percentage may look larger there than normal, and that's because we're carrying arrears and other items in that wage account. I don't know if that answered your question.
As normal, what do you mean by as normal?
Huh?
What is it? The percentage?
In the 13, which percentage are you looking at?
No, I'm asking what do you expect it to increase to over the same period?
But again, I can read it out to you in 2025-26, which is this fiscal year in which we are. We're expecting to end at 13.8% of GDP. In fiscal 2026-27, 13.5%. 27-28, 13.2, and levels out at 13%. and that would be
I
as
don't
a
know now.
result primarily of growth in the GDP.
I don't know.
The growth of 1.5% is going to cause this number to trend down over the next 4 years to 13.2.
So as
This is sad. This is embarrassing. You know, right? This is true in Jamaica.
all right, I remember this year, fiscal 25-26, that high of 13.8% includes quite a bit of one-off and arrears. There was a lot of catching up that was done across different ministries, across different educational institutions. There's a lot of sorting out to do in terms of some of the back pay and things that were owed to people that we did in 25-26. So that 13.8% is, it includes all of those things. So starting out in the new fiscal year, 2026-27, which also includes the arrears from last year because the wage negotiation is not concluded yet. So that's why that looks high. So when you see it level out at the 13% in the medium term, it's because we have been working hard to make sure that we deal with any arrears, any items that are owed to unions, because we don't want people to be waiting for what's due to them. And we've taken it on to make sure that we clean up and don't have people waiting on funds that they should be getting.
I mean, so you say you can't go into the detail, but I just assume from that there is no significant increase that is going to go in wages and salaries based on the anemic growth that's projected. In relation to your revenue measures, the government is still proposing to withdraw $11.4 billion from the NHD, correct?
Yes.
Now, this is a measure that was heavily criticized by a previous administration that you're a part of. Now, my issue is in relation to affordable houses. Because what in
Mr. Chairman, are we complete with the Ministry of Finance?
Oh, you want me
Because
to ask the housing
we're
minister
going
that?
to the office of the cabinet and the other
Remember,
ministries.
I will ask the housing minister, it's all right.
See about take myself from that the question there.
In relation to your revenue measures, the government is still proposing to withdraw $11.4 billion from the NHD, correct? The housing minister that...
Thank you very much, Minister.
All right, that's where we close it off
Just
after
seeking
that.
on the amendment you made, and I just want to ensure I heard you correctly.
That's where we close it off for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I can't go on my bed. Make sure so I go through this finance meeting business, yeah. You know? I can't go on my bed that all, yeah, man. I have been left more confused now more than ever before. Favor where only God alone make me not worry. I'm faith in God alone make me not worry about the future. I tell her that if it was for me to look at this and say, not saying God in bed, if it was for me to look at this and say, yo, you know what I'm saying? I feel like say we have a chance. Yo, you ever dip on one team and you want to play sports at school? And the way you see one of your key players them a perform. I want 20 for me. The way you see a key member perform. Yeah, say no, say we feel like we can win this. Well, ladies and gentlemen, all I have more doubt about Jamaica recovering under a Jamaica Labour Party now at this moment than I did 3 hours ago. You hear what I said? Yeah, man, I have more doubt now after listening to this. And this is something I had to listen to. So I want to thank you guys for toughing it out with me. Because it was tough, you know, like it was tough. Soon later, bye. Have a good night. Have a good morning. Blessings.